Hi everyone, Nicholas Barfudis here from Sunny Cyprus and welcome to today's tutorial, which is on the 2024 February-March paper 3-1. I'm only going to be solving the web design component and I'm going to be using Expression Web. For the other components of this particular paper, things like the file management, the evidence document, the spreadsheets, and I think there was image manipulation, you can find the link in the description of this video, which will take you to those tutorials. So let's get started with this one. Okay, so the first part is, let's have a look at the paper. It's task 3, web page. Remember the other components for this paper? Go look in the description of this video and you find the links to those tutorials there. So for this one, we want to create a web page called sbs.htm and save this in our March 24 folder. Well, we've already created this. This web page must be created using a single table and work in all browsers. The table must fit 90% of the browser window and have a structure as shown in the diagram below. We can see here we've got a table with 2 columns and 4 rows. And we've got some dimensions like width, height. Okay, so we need to be very, very careful with those. Then it says each table cell is identified with a letter. Some dimensions are shown. Do not set the height of cells B and E. Okay, that's fine. And table borders must appear on the final web page. The cell contents content shown in the diagram must not appear on the final web page. Okay, so let's go and make this table. The first step is going to be for us to open up Expression Web. So we're going to do that right now. So essentially, here's my folder with all my files. Here's the March 24 folder, which I've already created. And here are the files inside. This particular image here, the balloon one, this is the one that we did, I think, in task 2 of this paper. Where we had to basically flip this horizontally and save it as balloon. So as I said, go to the description, find the links there to those tutorials. Okay, so first step is we're going to open up Expression Web. There we go. And Expression Web always opens up with, well, my particular one, with a blank HTML document. I'm just going to close that because the first thing we're going to do is have a look at the setup of my interface. So the first thing I do is from panels at the top, I make sure I've got the tag properties, the CSS properties, and the apply styles ticked. Everything else I remove. So my tag properties is this window here on the left, and this essentially shows me the properties of the HTML code, all the tags in HTML. The CSS properties shows me the rules which are on the CSS code that I've done. So these are really useful panels here. And over here on the apply styles, again, another useful one because we've got some nice shortcuts like attaching the style sheet, creating new styles, and it's a very nice, simple setup. At the top, my ribbons, I normally have these 4 here, code view, common, style application. Again, you can add more of these as you go along. It really doesn't matter. You can remove them. I don't want to put too much because I don't want to use too much space from my window, allowing me more space to work with. Okay, so let's start by creating a new HTML. So file, new HTML. Now, straight away, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some information which I don't need, like this first line at the top. You don't have to. I just don't want to give them more information, give the examiners more information than I need. Let's get rid of this as well. And yeah, that one I can leave there and everything else is there. So I've got the title, which I'll probably add in later on. Next step, I'm going to save this. So file, save as. I'm going to go to my location on my computer. I've got mine on my desktop. There's my March 24 paper. And I'm going to call this, we said SBS, small letters. And there we go. And it's always good to open up your web page in your browser. So there it is, a blank web page right now. So I can see as I'm creating things, as I'm creating my web page, I can just go and see what it looks like in the browser. And it just helps me track if I'm doing things correctly or not. So the first step is I'm going to add a table, 2 columns, 4 rows. So again, up here in my common toolbar at the top, I've got here to create a table. So I'm going to click up here. And I can just choose from here and just draw a pattern, 2 columns and 4 rows, but I'm going to go to more options. This gives me my dialog box where I can choose, for example, 4 rows, 2 columns. I can set the width to 90%, and I can also put the border to 1. So that just gives me a border size of 1 because it says borders must be displayed. I'm going to click on OK. Now we can see here in the table, when I click on the table tag here, we can see it selects the table down here in the WYSIWYG. And at the same time, if we look over here in the attributes, well, in my tag properties, you can see all of the attributes for the table. And as I click on a different attribute, let's say if I click on body, you can see I get the attributes for the body. So this is a nice little feature in Expression Web. I really do like this. And we can see here, because I use the dialog box to create the table, I've got a style here. And if I click on these little dots, I can make that dialog box appear again. There it is. Okay, so I could just go make modifications if I wanted to. So basically 90% window, the border is 1 pixel, so on and so forth. However, I do want you to notice the following. I don't see, if I just do a quick save and view this in my browser, I only get the outside border. So the 90% of the window is there. You can see that there. But you only get the outside border, you don't get the inside borders. And the reason for this is using HTML5 code. And in HTML5 code, they do prefer that you apply the border width individually for the TDs, the THs, and so on and so forth. So just by applying the border width up here, it's only going to apply it to the external border. So you can, if you want, use instead the HTML4 code, which if I click on my table tag, so let's just do that now, right there. And if I look in my attributes, I've got here border. And if I put here 1px and click over here now, you can see I get the borders for everything. And this is because HTML4, the border width attribute will be applied when you put border 1px like it's done here. It will apply it to the external, the table border, let's say, and all the internal grid lines as well. So I could just get rid of this if I wanted to, or I could just leave it. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to get rid of it because I just want to get rid of it. Okay. And if I do a quick save now, Control S on my keyboard. Oops, hang on. Well done. Undo. It doesn't like that. So I'm just going to go to File Save. And if I preview now, there you go. I can see I get my borders. I can also see that border collapse is on separate. Hasn't said anything about that yet, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so next step, we're going to go to our question paper, and we want to set the width and the height of these particular cells. So this is where we have to be a little bit careful. So I need to, first of all, merge these cells here. And I could simply click from here, right click. Where is it? There should be a merge here. Does it give me a merge? Seriously? It doesn't give me a merge? Okay, so what I'm going to do, there probably is somewhere there, I can't say. I'm just going to right click up here to enable my tables. And I can see up here, there's my merge button in the top left corner. Can you see that there? So I'm just going to merge that there. I don't need to merge anything else, but what I do want to do is click inside this cell. So when I click on it, you can see that the selector goes to that particular table data. And for that TD, I want to make the width 30%. Now, because if I click on this attribute here, the good thing is that over here, I can get, you can see it's got the row span over here in the tag properties. I can go to width now and just put 30%. And if I click here, look at that. Really easy to do, isn't it? So if I click on this one, I want a width of 70%. So I click inside that TD, go to width in my tag properties over here and put that to 70. Okay, click away. There we go. And I want this one to be a height of 10. So we're going to go to H. There we go. Height 10%. And this one, I want a height of 15%. 15%. Okay, that's really easy to do. So you can see how useful the tag properties area is in Expression Web. Really easy to use. Okay, so let's jump over here now. So it says here so we've done that. Table borders must appear. Okay, so the next thing is we need to set the title of the web page to Serengeti Balloon Safaris. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to cheat here, jump over here, go to my table tag at the top and just paste that there. Serengeti Balloon Safaris. I'll just get rid of the space and get rid of that space. And we'll do a quick save. File save. Let's just have a look and see what, won't really see anything different here. There we go. What we do see is that table has been merged, that those cells, that's 30%, that's 70%. Great. You see how important it is to have your web page open in the browser so you can just keep double checking. Okay, back to the question paper. Okay, place in cell A the image balloon saved in step 1 so that it fits the width of this cell. Then in B, the image M24 banner PNG so that it fits the width of this cell. And then E, a video tag to display. Right, so let's go and do these two first. So we're going to click inside this cell here, which is cell A. And from here, I'm going to add my page. Now I can get rid of the table toolbar up here. So I'm just going to get rid of that, save me a bit of space. And then while I'm in here, I can go and click on the image up here, or I could go insert picture. It's up to you. I'm just going to click on the little toolbar up here. Find my image. There it is there. Now it wants this to be 100% of the container. So I need to set the width property on this. So if I click on here, you can see it gives me the image source balloon.jpg style equals width 146 and the height. I don't want the height because I want to maintain the aspect ratio. So I'm just going to change that to 100%. And that should work. Now this is, again, this is using the HTML5 code, but that's fine. But you can see that's worked. It's taken the whole width of that. Good. And then up here, I want the banner. So again, I can click, let's just go to insert this time, just so it's a bit different. Picture from file. And that way we can see multiple ways of adding things. There's my image, insert. And I want to do the same here again. So if I click on this, again, I've got my HTML5 source here. I can this time, I'm just going to do this from the styles, from the tag properties this time. So here we are, we've got the styles here. I'm going to click on the ... There is my dialog box, and I don't want the height, and I want this to be 100%. So just so we can see multiple ways on how we can do this. Click OK, and that should be fine. There we go. So I'm just going to go to File, Save. And just have a quick look. There we go. So that's taking the whole width. All right, it's going to start looking a bit better slowly. Okay. So I want to add a video tag to display the M24 video.mp4 so that it fits the width of this cell. So I need to, again, to make that 100%. This video must show the controls and play automatically when the web page opens. Display an automated text-based error message if the browser does not support this video type. Okay, now this is the one flaw for Expression Web as far as I'm concerned. The issue is that you don't have a lot of the HTML5 tags in Expression Web, mainly because it's been discontinued, I'm gonna think. So what you're gonna have to write this one out. You're gonna have to learn how to do this code. So let's go see how we can go add a video tag to add a video. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of that non-breakable space. We don't need that blank area in there. So here's the TD where we want to put the video. So the video tag essentially is video. And when we close that triangle bracket, we see we get the open and close video. Now I'm just going to make this a bit easier to read by putting some spaces. So you can see how you can set this up. Okay, so in between, inside the video tag, what we want to do is to apply the source, where we're going to get the video from. Now I'm going to add some other things as well, but I'm going to build this up slowly for you so that every aspect of this makes sense, and hopefully that will help you remember it as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we now need to open a tag called source. And this tag essentially is to tell the browser where to find, or where the location of the file, of the video file is. So the file path is going to be src equals to, that opens up our speech marks. Now we've saved our web page in exactly the same location as where the video file is. Can you see? So they're in the same location. So I don't need to put a separate file path. I just need to write the name of the file. So this is m24 video.mp4. Okay. Now, this next part I'm going to add is not strictly required. Okay, so you don't have to include this, but I'm going to include it because it is useful to learn and understand why it's there. And the reason we don't need it, it's basically the type equals, and we're just going to put here video/mp4. Now, this tells your browser what video type this is. Now, usually the browser will understand what video type it is and play the video based on the extension of the file. But let me just put that correctly. So by using the type command, it's not that necessary. It is good practice, especially if you're going to have multiple sources. So I could, for example, and this is not part of the exam, by the way, it could be asked, but if I had another type, for example, here, I had another source, and this one was an AVI, and it looked like this, then here what it would do, it will try and play this one. If that one's not available, let's say your browser can't play that video type, then it will try and play this video type. And having the type here makes it easier for the browser to identify which file type it can play, and it will start playing that first. So it avoids some delays. But as I said, the type is not necessary. So I'm just going to get rid of that part there. I'm going to leave it in there for my video. And that's basically it for that. Now, the next thing that you need to do is the fallback text. So if this video is not supported and there isn't another source, then we can just write okay, just a little message saying that the file type is not supported by your browser, and that's absolutely fine. Now, let's just do a quick save and see what happens. File save. I'm just going to reduce the size of this window. There we go. And I'm just, oh, there it is. It's had it there. So there's my video, but there's no way of this thing playing, okay, because I don't have any controls on this video. So where do we put things like the controls and the autoplay? Well, these go in the video tag. So from here, if I write controls, and I'm going to show you this step by step, I'm going to go to file save, and let's just reload this now. So now we can see the controls down here, and I can press play, and that starts playing. Now, let me just enable my desktop audio. So, okay, and you can see that video playing and probably hear it as well. Okay, but it says it has to autoplay. So to do that, again, next to that, we're going to write autoplay. Now, autoplay in most cases will not work unless you've got the muted attribute added as well. So if we just test this, file save, and just do a quick reload, you can see it's not autoplaying. See, Chrome will not autoplay the video unless it's automatically muted. And that's just so it doesn't start playing and scare the crap out of you. Well, that's the reason I think. So we also need to add muted. So if I do that now, Control S, and now I reload this, it should start playing automatically. And you're going to see this little speaker down here. It's going to be muted. There we go. Can you see that? So it's playing, but it's muted. So that's how you can enable autoplay. Okay, I think that's everything there. I'm just going to go to file save, and I'm going to jump over to my question paper. Okay, so I've done the video. I don't think I've missed anything out on that. So add appropriate alternate text to both still images. Okay, so again, this is very easy to do. I can click on the image tag on the image here. That opens the tag properties for my image. And then from here, I should have ALT. There it is there. What is it? Hot air balloon flying in the sunset. And then for this image, I'm going to do the same. Click on the image. I've got my AOT. This is the Serengeti balloon safaris banner with 2 hot air balloons flying. Now, the alternative text is simply there to help people which are visually impaired, because they have devices that, because they can't see the images, it will read the images. And the other good thing is, if the image for some reason is not available, it cannot be seen, it will display the text instead. So still giving you a good idea of what this web page is showing. So let's jump over to our question paper. That's number 5. Let's go to 6. Enter in cell C the text, "This web page was created by, colon," and then on a new line, not a new paragraph, enter your name, center number, and candidate number. So this is in C. So that will be in this one here. So I'm just going to paste that in. I'm going to press, now if I press the enter key now, that gives me a break, okay? And then from there, I can just go and add my details. Okay, there we go. So that's on a new line. And I need to set this text as style H2. So I'm just going to select all of that. And now to set the styles, if we look at the top in our common features up here, we've got this one here. We can go to heading 2. There we go. Okay, place in cell D the text from the file m24 text.txt. Set this text as a paragraph style. Set the text memorable and inspiring as style heading 1. Okay, so let's jump over here. That's A, B, C. We want this in D, in here. So we're going to go and open that text. So here's my text down here. I've got it nice and big. Then I'm just going to copy all of that. Now you could open it in here. There are so many different ways of doing this. In here and put that text there. And we want that, all of this. Well, I'm going to make it all probably easier just to make everything paragraph first. And then just select this text here, memorable and inspiring, and make that heading 1. There. Oh, no. Okay, so we can see, oh, heading 1. I need to break that. I need that to be a separate paragraph. So I'm just going to break that there and select that and make that paragraph. There we go. Okay, I can get rid of that extra line there. Okay, so there we go. Now, the reason why, because it had that all as one paragraph, there was no break, essentially it it made everything heading 1. So we can see here now that this is heading 1, and here we've got a new paragraph that begins, and that's the paragraph style. Okay. Open the style sheet. So let's just do a quick save. I'm just going to do a save there. I'm not going to switch the screen right now. There we go. Save. Right. Open the style sheet m24 sbs.css in an editor. Add CSS to this style sheet so that. Okay. And we can get on with this now. So we're going to add your name, center number, candidate number are set as a comment at the start of the style sheet. The table is center aligned within the browser window. All table elements have the space between the borders set to 10 pixels. All table cells have padding set to 20 pixels. Styles heading 1 and heading 2 use that font. Heading 1 and heading 2 are center aligned. Heading 1 and heading 2 have a font color of that. So all of these, heading 1 and heading 2, we're going to put them all in one CSS property for efficient programming technique. And then we've got some different heights for heading 1 and heading 2. Okay, so we're going to start off with this. So let's just jump back over here. We're going to go to File, So open the style sheet, M24 SBS. So file open. Now M24 SBS is outside of the M24 folder. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to save it in my folder at some point. Yes. So I'm just going to go open that up, M24 SBS. There it is. Now, what I'm going to do next is this. I'm just going to jump over here. Make sure that you start. So this is going to be the name of the file down here, M24 SBS underscore followed by your center number and candidate number. And put this in your March 24 folder. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do that now because I want to attach it and preview it before I finish so I can see what I'm doing and make sure everything's working. So from here, I'm just going to go to File, Save As. Go inside my March 24 folder, and we're going to save this as M24 SBS underscore. And that's going to be CY127 underscore 1234. And click Save. So I've done the saving part. I just want to see if my text is big enough here. So let's just have a look here. I'm just going to go to my Tools, Page Editor Options. I just want to see if that's kind of big enough. Code formatting, default font. Yeah, that's on 12. Shall I make it 14 to make it just a little bit bigger? There we go. That should be a bit easier for you guys to see. Makes all the font a little bit bigger, but that's fine. For the CSS, that's fine. Okay, so here basically what I want to do now, it's already got the background color for me. And because I can see here that I'm going to attach my style sheet, I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I'm just going to attach my style sheet now. So over here, my apply styles, I'm just going to go attach style sheet, browse, open the March 24. There's my style sheet and attach it and click OK. Now, there you go. It's got a background color. So if I just go to File, Save now, have a quick preview. Right. So now I can see what my web page looks like. It's looking good. And what I want to do next is, as I start adding things to my style sheet, I'm going to be checking them and making sure they work. Okay, it's so much faster if something goes wrong to see it immediately because you know where you went wrong. So let's just go to my style sheet. The first thing I want to do is to add my name. Name, center number, candidate number are set as a comment at the start of the style sheet. So I just want to move up a bit here, move that down, and I want to add a comment. Now my comment is in the code view here. I think it's a code view, is it? Yes, it is. So there's the code view, and you can see this one here. There it is, insert CSS comment. Now, if you remember that it's a slash and a star, and then you comment, that's fine. But if you don't, you've got this here, and I'm just going to put my details. So that's a comment. And always make sure you close this bit here, because if you don't, your entire code will become a comment and it won't be read. Okay. So next step, we want to add now, the table is center aligned within the browser window. Now that basically means my table is 90% of the window. That leaves 10% of the window size. So we want to allocate 5% on one side and 5% on the other side, so my table goes in the middle. But if I set the left and right margin to automatic, it will do that for me. So from here, the next step is, here are my styles. Here's my other panel. You see this one here? We're going to go to New Style. And from here, New Style, I want Table. So I'm just going to delete what I've got up here in the selector. I'm going to write the table tag. And then from here, I need to set my, I always get a little bit confused where everything is. So here it is, it's going to be the box. So if I go to box, here is my margin. I don't want the same for all. I want the left and right margin to be automatic and automatic. Okay. And is there anything else that I want on that? No. Right. It says all table elements have the space between the borders set to 10 pixels. Now, this basically means that we want the border collapse to be separate. And if we have a look at our window here, you can see these borders. Can you see here? These are separate. Can you see you get the double lines here? So, but we want the gap between here to be 10 pixels, the horizontal and the vertical. So we're going to do that now. So again, I want this. I'm just going to go to border. Is it border or block? I keep losing where everything is. I'm so, oh, here it is. It's going to be in the table. There it is in the table properties. So border collapse is going to be separate. And we can see here the border spacing. I want the border spacing to be 10 pixels. So I'm just going to make that 10 pixels. Is there anything else for the table? No. So I'm going to click on apply and OK. So here we've got right margin, auto, left margin, auto, border collapse, separate, border spacing 10. I'm going to do a quick save, file save, and now I'm going to have a look and see what's happening here. There we go. Can we see now that the spacing between the borders is now increased? It's all 10 pixels. Perfect. So I know that part's working. My table is also center aligned in the window. You can see on the left a small margin and on the right a small margin. So everything looks good. And as I change the size of my window, you see everything gets bigger because it's proportional to that window size. And by making my window size just right, I get a perfect size window. There we go. Okay, so let's move on. Next, it says all table cells have padding set to 20 pixels. So the padding is inside the cells, and that's basically the TD, the table datas. So I'm going to go to new style. Up here, I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to put TD. And now I want to find the padding. So let's just go to the box. Yes, there it is. Padding, same for all. Yeah, I'm going to use the same for all because I want a padding. All table cells have padding set to 20 pixels. So I'm going to put the top, the left, the right, and the bottom to 20 pixels. Let's just increase that to 20 or just type it in there. There we go. And it's going to do all the margins inside that little cell to be 20 pixels. Click on apply. Is there anything else I want there? Nope. Apply and OK. Again, I'm going to go to save. Can't stress how important it is to keep testing things. So you can see now, before I actually refresh, can you see how close the image is to the border of this cell? As soon as I click on refresh, now you can see there's a 20 pixel padding inside that cell. And that's what that padding does there. Okay, great. So the next thing is I'm going to be applying the styles to heading 1 and heading 2. So I want this font center aligned and the color to be the same for heading 1 and heading 2. So again, I'm going to go and create a new style. I want for both heading 1, comma, heading 2. Now you can find the single ones here, okay? But if you know the tag, if you don't know the tag that you're looking for anyway, you're not going to find it. And if you do know the tag you're looking for, you might as well just type it in. Okay, so I want the font to be Cooper Black or Impact if that's not available. And if that's not available, to be the default serif font. So I'm just going to choose a font family, which is just the default serif font, which is a type of Times New Roman font. So I'm just going to choose this one. And I'm going to modify it. It's just easier to modify it there. I want everything to be center aligned. So I want, where are we? Font size. We don't want any variation. Go to block. We want text align center in the block. And I also want the color to be, now here it's got, it says hexadecimal blue component of 99, no red and no green components. So for the color, let's just click in here. I'm just going to put a hashtag. And if you can't remember, put the hashtag, you can just choose any color like this. There you go. That's actually correct. But if it wanted a random color, I can just choose one. It's put everything and I can type in the command. So I don't want any red. I don't want any green, but I do want blue. So I'm going to put the maximum blue, which is FF. And there's my code for blue. I'm going to click on apply, click OK. And now I need to deal with this font. So the first font should be Cooper Black. So I'm just going to get rid of all of this. I want it to be Cooper Black. Now Cooper Black has got a space, so I'm just going to get rid of what's in there. And Cooper Black. And because it has a space in the title of the name, it has to be in speech marks. And if that's not available, I want the font impact. And if that's not available, I'm going to have the default serif font. Okay, that looks good. Let's go to save. And now what we're going to do, we're just going to go have a look and see what our web page looks like. Let's do a refresh. There we go. So we can see our font, heading 1, heading 2. Right, it's center aligned, it's blue. Great. All that looks fantastic. So let me just make that a little bit smaller there so everything fits in one window like so. There we go. All right, now then, let's go back to our question paper. Okay, now it says that we want star 1, heading 1 to be 18 points and heading 2 to be 14 points high. So here we're just going to add new style. So new style, I'm just going to put here heading 1. And I want the text or the font to be, where are we? Heading 1, I want 18. So just click on 18 PT. Click apply and OK. I'm just going to copy paste this for the next one. It's just easier. Heading 2, and that should be 14. Okay, let's do a quick save, file save. And again, as always, we're going to just preview. I think it's already applied it, has it? There we go. So this text here is slightly smaller than this one here. Everything else looks good. The one thing I have missed, and I can see that now, I should have put the video to take the full width. So we're going to do that now. I did miss that. So I'm just going to go back to my HTML, go to my video down here. And in the video, I'm also going to put, now I don't have this in my tag properties because the video tag is not part of HTML4, it's HTML5. So I'm just going to put here width equals to, there we go, 100%. Okay, and just click on that. And now if I save, that's one thing I did forget, but you were going to call me out on that, I'm sure. I'm sure while I was doing that, some of you said, yes, he forgot that. I'm going to put that in the comment. So here we go. There we go. So that takes the full width now. Perfect. That looks, and can you see how I noticed that? I noticed that because something looked a little bit odd with my video. It wasn't nice and square as everything else. So it's always good if something looks a little bit different or a little bit off, or you're questioning it, you know, just double check that. Okay, let's go back. Right, make sure that your style sheet does not contain HTML. Okay, take a screenshot of your style sheet and place this in your evidence document. Make sure that the file name and contents are clearly visible. So first thing I want to do is just make sure I've got my evidence document open. So I've got my evidence document back here. Let's open that up. Okay, and now from here, here is my CSS. So there's my HTML, there's my CSS. So I just want to take a screenshot of that. I'm going to make sure I take the file names at the top as well. That's useful. Get rid of that and just go put this in my, there we go. So that shows the file name of my CSS nice and clearly, and my my details at the top. Great. So now let's jump over here again. Attach the style sheet to your web page. We've done that. Save your web page. Take a copy of your HTML source and place this in your evidence document. So we want a copy. It doesn't say a screenshot. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to select all of that and place this here. And I'm just going to get rid of all that space, all that double line spacing. Just go to my paragraph, make that 0 and 0, single line spacing. There you go. And do I have any unnecessary space? Yeah, I've got some unnecessary ones there. And here, you know, just to make everything fit on one page if you can. That's always going to be helpful. I can actually just extend my margin just a little bit. There we go. So that just makes it easier for the examiner to mark. Great. Okay, display your web page in a browser. If necessary, resize it so that the entire page can be seen. All the text can be easily read. the address bar is fully visible. Take a screenshot showing your web page in the browser. Place this in your evidence document. Okay, so this is the one I feel that a lot of students struggle with. So I'm going to go over this again in detail. This is my web page when it's in full screen. If I simply hold the control button on my keyboard and move the wheel on my mouse backwards and forwards, that zooms, let me just bring that down, that zooms my page in and out. But that doesn't do much for getting everything visible in one page, does it? Can you see that? All right, that video is at the bottom. And the reason for this is because my images are adjusting to the width of the cell, then, and the height is adjusting proportionally, the wider it is, the taller it is. Okay? So because this balloon image over here is 100% of the width of that cell, then as my window gets bigger, the width gets bigger. So proportionally, the size is going to get bigger, the height as well. So what I want to do is to restore my window. And you can see as I make my window smaller, everything gets more compact. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to now, with a window size about this big, I'm now going to zoom a little bit in and out. There we go. Can you see? That works well. That text is a little bit small. So I could make that a bit smaller and then zoom in a bit more. Can you see that? That looks good. So all of my text is now readable. Let me just zoom out a little bit there. That's absolutely fine. So what am I looking for in this screenshot? So I'm going to take the screenshot first, and then I'm going to show you. I'm going to take the screenshot so that I'm making sure I get just the outside borders of this browser window. Okay. I'm not doing this. I'm not just doing this because there's no way of knowing that this screenshot is a screenshot from the browser. I'm just going to take all of this. I'm going to show you what we're looking for in this screenshot now. So let's just maximize that. So here are the things we want. We want to see the name of the web page, the one that we put, it's up there. We want to be able to see the address bar, that one there. We want to make sure that we can see that our web page and our table is center aligned. So I can see the left margin here and the right margin there, meaning my table is center aligned. I should be able to see all of the borders of the table all the way to the bottom, nothing cut off. Okay. And because I can see the borders of this window, of the browser window here, you can see those borders there. We know that this is the entire window. So this is a really good screenshot. The text here is visible. The border collapse separate is visible. Everything is visible. So this is a great screenshot. And that's how you can adjust your screen so that it shows everything that you need to show. I'm trying to delete all these lines. There we go. All right, so from here, I'm just going to, I might as well just take a different screenshot. New, there we go. From there to there. And I'm going to put this in my, there. Now, do I need to make it bigger? You can make it a little bit bigger if it's not displaying properly. So I'm just going to make this tight. So I can make this just a little bit bigger, but don't make it so big that when it prints, it basically cuts some of your picture off. And what you don't want to do is this. Please don't do this. Don't try and extend the image like so. Because now I've just distorted my pictures. I will lose marks because my picture might be taking the width of the cell, but the aspect ratio of this image has now been destroyed. Now you can see it in the code, but if the examiner goes based on what they can see here, this aspect ratio has now been destroyed. Okay, so everything has been distorted. So undo. So if you are going to make it bigger, you need to go from the corner to make sure everything enlarges and make sure you've got a little bit of white space on the outside. There we go. That's a fantastic screenshot for you. All right, that wasn't a bad paper, but I have gone into a little bit more detail so you can understand a little bit about the widths, especially with HTML5 coding, HTML4 coding, when it comes to the borders, or the internal borders of the table. We did have a video to add in there. We saw how we can add the video tag. I nearly forgot to make the video 100%. But apart from that, I do believe that the CSS coding and the HTML for this paper was not that bad. It was a nice paper. So a paper like this, you should be happy with. All right. If you like this content, you enjoyed this tutorial, you learned something new, you know the drill. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.